The Johnson and Reyes law firm was abuzz with whispers, but not about court rulings or million-dollar clients. Rumors had it that the elusive heir, Aiden Reyes, would be arriving soon. He was a mystery, brilliant, reclusive, never seen in public. No one knew what he looked like, but everyone knew his name. What they didn't know was that Aiden had already walked through those glass doors, dressed in thrifted slacks, worn shoes, and with a simple ID card clipped to his plain shirt reading legal intern. No one gave him a second look. That was the plan. Meanwhile, across the marble-tiled lobby, a quiet storm was brewing. Abuela Rosa, the respected matriarch of the Reyes family, had traded her tailored suits for a faded janitor's uniform and rubber gloves. Her eyes scanned the room, not for dirt, but for truth. In a corner near the elevators, a group of young female associates snickered. "Look at that old woman," one muttered. "She's wearing a fake Cartier watch," sneered Sienna Blake, a sharp-tongued junior lawyer with eyes on power, trying to look rich. Abuela Rosa paused, gently wringing her mop. She turned to them slowly, her face unreadable. "It's just an old watch," she said calmly. "Why does it matter to you?" The laughter escalated until someone shoved her shoulder. She stumbled back but didn't fall. A voice sliced through the tension. "Enough." Elena Cruz stepped forward, arms crossed, her eyes fierce. "What are you doing?" "She's just doing her job." "Really, Elena?" Sienna rolled her eyes. "Aren't you the one who got dumped for being too nosy? No wonder you're still single." Elena didn't flinch. "I left him. I don't date liars. You should try that sometime. It's called self-respect." The air went still. Sienna turned red. One by one her posse slinked away, but not without glares. Abuela Rosa's eyes sparkled with quiet admiration. "Thank you, dear," she said. Elena shrugged, brushing a strand of dark hair behind her ear. "Just let me know if anyone bothers you again." As she walked away, Abuela Rosa murmured to herself, this one has fire." From across the room, Aiden watched it all. The woman who had stood up so boldly caught his eye. She wasn't like the others. She didn't care about status. She stood for what was right. And for the first time in a long while, Aiden Reyes felt intrigued. Later that day, Elena Cruz sat at her desk, her brows furrowed in focus as she flipped through case files. Her sharp mind moved faster than her fingers, organizing thoughts and arguments in silence. She didn't notice the figure approaching until a soft throat clearing broke her concentration. She looked up and smiled warmly. It was the elderly janitor from earlier. "Yes?" Elena asked kindly. "May I sit for a moment, dear?" the woman asked, her voice gentle but strong. "Of course," Elena replied, pushing a spare chair toward her. "Are you okay?" Abuela Rosa took the seat with a sigh, her mop leaning against the wall beside her. "I wanted to thank you again. Not many young women would step up like that." Elena gave a soft chuckle. "They were being cruel. I just did what anyone should do." Abuela Rosa tilted her head. "Not everyone would have bothered." Elena looked away for a second, the memory of past betrayals flashing in her eyes. "Maybe not. But I've been on the other end of that kind of treatment, and I know what it feels like." The older woman nodded, eyes filled with curiosity and affection. "Do you mind me asking, are you married?" Elena blinked, surprised. "No, not even close." Rosa mused, lips twitching into a smile. "What if I told you I had a grandson? Kind, intelligent, honest. Handsome too, if I may brag." Elena laughed, unsure whether the woman was joking. "Are you offering to set me up?" "Actually," Rosa leaned in, "would you consider marrying him?" Elena's laughter faded, replaced by stunned confusion. Wait, What? I'm serious, Rosa said, her tone sincere. I've been watching. You have a good heart. And that's what he needs. Not someone dazzled by money, but someone who sees the soul behind it. Elena didn't know what to say. That's flattering. But I don't even know him. You will, Rosa promised. And if you say yes, I promise, you won't regret it. Still laughing lightly, Elena replied, That's very sweet of you, but I'm not really looking for love right now. My last relationship ended badly. He cheated. In this office, actually. Rosa's expression tightened. Then you deserve someone better. Someone who understands loyalty. With a soft smile, Elena added, I'll think about it. Just then, the office door opened. A young man walked in, tall, effortlessly charming, dressed in modest clothes, but with the posture of a man who carried the world. Abuela, he said warmly. Elena's eyes widened. Abuela, Rosa grinned. Elena, meet my grandson, Aiden. Aiden smiled and offered a hand. Hi, I'm Aiden, new intern. It's nice to meet you. As Elena took his hand, a soft blush crept onto her cheeks. Welcome to the firm, she said, trying to hide her surprise. Was this the same man Rosa had just offered her heart to? If so, he didn't look like the type to be anyone's intern. Aiden Reyes slipped effortlessly into his role as an intern, keeping a low profile as he observed the inner workings of the firm he would soon lead. To everyone else, he was just another quiet new face, polite, smart, and oddly humble, except to Elena Cruz. She couldn't quite place it, but something about him was different. He wasn't trying to impress anyone, yet his grasp of legal work was sharp, too sharp for a new intern. You're surprisingly good at this, Elena remarked as they sat in a conference room reviewing a complex client file. Aiden chuckled, adjusting his sleeves. I like to read law journals in my free time. Elena raised an eyebrow. For fun. He shrugged with a smile. It's not so bad when you love what you're learning. She smiled back, but a voice cut into their calm. Well, what do we have here? Sienna Blake strolled in, her heels clicking like a warning, the intern playing lawyer. And Elena, are you mentoring now? Elena closed her folder, her tone cool. We're reviewing a case together. Sienna's eyes gleamed with mockery. Of course, I'm sure the intern has so much to offer. Aiden remained calm, just trying to learn from the best. Sienna laughed. You'd better learn how to fetch coffee first. He didn't respond. Elena gave Sienna a hard look. Shouldn't you be in the conference room? You're late for the policy meeting. Rolling her eyes, Sienna sauntered away. Careful, Elena. Don't get too attached. Some interns are just passing through. Once she was gone, Elena sighed. Ignore her. She feeds off attention. Aiden looked at her with a soft smile. Thanks for standing up for me. Twice now, she added, smiling back. I'm keeping count. Outside the room, Abuela Rosa slowly pushed her cleaning cart down the hallway, pretending to dust a shelf, but her ears were sharp. She had positioned Aiden to work under Elena for a reason, and it was working. Back at her desk, Elena received a call. Her mother's name flashed on the screen. She hesitated, then picked up. Hi, Mom, she said cheerfully. Elena, when are you bringing your fiancé home? Her mother asked eagerly. You promised. Elena froze. Soon, I promise. Just, things are complicated right now. You're not getting younger, Mia, her mother sighed. I just want to see you happy. I know, Mom, she said, her voice tight. I'll call you later. After the call ended, Elena sat in silence. She hated lying, but the pressure was real. Across the floor, Aiden glanced up from his screen and saw the worry in her eyes. He didn't know what was troubling her, but he found himself wishing he could take the burden from her shoulders. He may have come undercover to understand the firm, but now, all he wanted was to understand her. The law firm buzzed with anticipation. Rumors were swirling that Aiden Reyes, the real heir to the Reyes legal empire, would soon be making a grand appearance. No one knew what he looked like, but everyone wanted to impress him. Everyone, except Aiden himself, who quietly worked side by side with Elena Cruz under his intern alias. In one corner of the office, Sienna Blake whispered to her usual circle of gossips, a smirk playing on her lips. "Reyes is only going to work with the best," she said smugly. "We all know that leaves out certain people." Her eyes drifted toward Elena's desk. Elena walked past just in time to hear the final jab. "Don't even think about trying to join his team," Sienna said louder, her words deliberately aimed. "You're not in his league, Elena. You're a nobody from a no-name school." Elena froze, her shoulders tense. She turned slowly. "That's enough, Sienna." "Oh, am I wrong?" Sienna continued mockingly. "Face it, you'll always be second-rate." Before Elena could respond, Aiden stood up. "That's enough," he said, stepping in front of Elena. His voice was calm, but his gaze was sharp. Sienna scoffed. "Oh look, the intern thinks he can talk." "I may be an intern," Aiden replied steadily, "but I know the difference between strength and insecurity. And right now, you're the loudest one in the room." The group behind Sienna went silent. "She's a brilliant lawyer," Aiden added, nodding toward Elena, "and more professional than most of you put together." Sienna narrowed her eyes. "Keep defending her, intern. Let's see how far that gets you." As she stormed away, Elena looked at Aiden stunned. "You didn't have to do that," she said quietly. "I wanted to," Aiden replied, his voice softer now. "You don't deserve that kind of treatment." Elena's heart fluttered. No one had defended her like that in a long time. Later that evening, the two of them stayed behind to finish paperwork. The office was emptying out, lights dimming across the floor. As they worked in silence, Aiden finally spoke. "Elena, can I ask something personal?" She glanced up. "Sure." "Do you ever get tired of trying so hard when people like Sienna keep dragging you down?" Elena sighed. "All the time. But quitting would mean they win." He nodded slowly. "You inspire me, you know." She smiled faintly. "That's ironic, considering I'm usually the one who feels lost." "You don't look lost to me," Aiden said, his gaze steady. "You look like the strongest person in this office." Outside the glass walls, Abuela Rosa watched from her janitor cart, a knowing grin tugging at her lips. The match was catching fire, and it was only the beginning. The weeks that followed brought Aiden and Elena closer than either of them had expected. Their late nights in the office became routine. Shared laughter over lukewarm coffee, inside jokes about co-workers, and comfortable silences between flurries of paperwork created a rhythm neither wanted to disrupt. It was subtle, unspoken, but undeniable. One evening, as they wrapped up yet another case review, Aiden leaned back in his chair and looked at Elena. "I was thinking," he began, his tone casual, "maybe we could, I don't know, get dinner sometime, outside of work." Elena looked up from her laptop, blinking. "Are you asking me out?" Aiden chuckled nervously. "Only if you say yes." She hesitated for a moment. Her heart said yes immediately, but her mind still bore scars from the past. Men like him always seemed great, until they weren't. But then again, Aiden had stood up for her, respected her, treated her like an equal. She smiled. "Okay, yes." Aiden's face lit up. "Really? Don't ruin it by acting shocked," she teased. They both laughed, and something shifted between them. Meanwhile, jealousy brewed in the shadows. Sienna Blake watched their every interaction with narrowed eyes. She wasn't used to being overlooked, especially not for someone like Elena. And then came her opportunity. One morning, Sienna overheard Aidan and Elena talking about their weekend plans. Her eyes gleamed with venomous intent. By Monday, Elena's name was suddenly attached to a major client file with multiple errors someone had clearly planted. Sienna made sure the right people saw it, whispering fake concern. "She must have made a mistake," she said, feigning sympathy. "We all know she's been distracted lately." Whispers grew. Elena walked into the office that day, unaware of the storm waiting for her. As the managing partner questioned her professionalism in front of others, Elena's face burned with humiliation. Before she could respond, Aidan stepped in. "Elena didn't mess that up," he said, voice firm. "Someone tampered with her work." The partner raised an eyebrow. "Do you have proof?" Aidan didn't yet, but he met Elena's gaze. "I will." Later that day, as Elena sat quietly in the break room, staring into her untouched coffee, Aidan entered and slid into the chair across from her. "I'm sorry," he said gently. "You shouldn't have to go through this." Elena looked up, her eyes tired. "It's not the first time I've been targeted." Aidan reached across the table, taking her hand. "Then let it be the last. I won't let anyone tear you down again." Elena held his gaze, surprised by the strength in his words. A small smile played on her lips. "You're different, Aidan," she whispered. "And I don't know what you're hiding. But whatever it is, thank you for being here." He didn't answer, because how could he say, "I'm the man who owns this firm," when she was just beginning to trust the man who didn't. It was a tense week at Reyes & Company Law. The whispers hadn't stopped. Elena Cruz, once the quiet storm of the office, now walked past murmurs and raised brows. Accusations, planted by Sienna, had bruised her credibility, but not broken her resolve. Aidan Reyes watched silently, torn between two identities, the humble intern at her side, and the powerful CEO, who could fix everything with a single sentence. But he hadn't told her yet, not because he didn't trust her, but because he feared what the truth might do to the fragile relationship they'd built. That morning, as he passed her desk, Elena looked up and smiled. It was soft, sad, brave. "Still hanging around with me?" she teased gently. Aidan nodded. "You couldn't get rid of me if you tried." Later that afternoon, Sienna made her move. She cornered Elena in the hallway with a smug expression and a file clutched in her hands. "Thought you should know," she said, her tone syrupy sweet. "Management is seriously considering placing you on probation." Elena's jaw clenched. "Why would you care?" "Because," Sienna purred, "when you fall I rise." Just then Aidan appeared. "Is there a problem here?" "No," Elena said before Sienna could respond. "Nothing worth anyone's time." She turned and walked away, shoulders straight. But Aidan had heard enough. He pulled out his phone and dialed. "Mateo," he said quietly to his assistant on the other end. "It's time." "Are you sure, sir?" Mateo asked. "Because once we do this—" "Yes," Aidan replied, glancing at Elena from afar. "The longer I hide, the more it hurts her. She deserves the truth." That evening, the plan was set. Mateo would walk into the office the next morning and introduce himself as Tomas Reyes, heir to the firm, posing as the real CEO, just to see who tried to use him and who stayed loyal. But Aidan wasn't the only one with secrets. That night, Elena got a call from her ex-boyfriend Dylan Graves. She almost didn't answer. "Elena," he said on the line, his voice slick with mock sincerity, "just wanted to say, I heard about the scandal. Looks like the intern dumped you and you're losing your job too. You're on a roll." She hung up without another word, but the call left her shaken. When she returned to her apartment, Aidan was waiting outside her door. "I know it's late," he said softly, "but I needed to see you." Elena stepped aside to let him in, sensing something different in his energy, more serious, more conflicted. They sat in silence for a few moments. Finally, he said it. "There's something I have to tell you." Elena looked up, bracing herself, but before he could speak, her phone buzzed again. Her mother. "When are you bringing your fiancé home?" Elena's eyes welled up. "I can't do this anymore," she whispered. "Then let me fix it," Aidan said. "But you have to trust me. Tomorrow, everything will make sense." Elena stared at him, unsure whether to run or hold on. The next day, the storm would hit, and no one would be the same. The office of Reyes and Company had never been this electric. Word had spread like wildfire. "The real Aidan Reyes is arriving today." Excitement rippled through every department. People were dressed sharper, smiles were wider, even the coffee tasted stronger. But no one was more prepared than Sienna Blake, wearing a tailored crimson dress and her most expensive perfume. Sienna stood by the entrance, rehearsing the perfect greeting. She'd been waiting for this day, and nothing, not Elena, not rumors, was going to steal her spotlight. At 9 a.m. sharp, the elevator chimed. Out stepped a tall, confident man in a sharp navy suit, perfect hair, briefcase in hand. Mateo King, Aidan's trusted assistant, walked with the posture of a man born to rule. He offered a polite smile. "Good morning, I'm Aidan Reyes." The reaction was instant. Gasps, whispers, applause. Sienna stepped forward. "Mr. Reyes, I'm Sienna Blake. It's an honor. May I just say, I'm looking forward to observing the team," Mateo said smoothly, cutting her off with a nod and moving past her. Elena watched it all from her desk, eyebrows furrowed. Something felt off. That wasn't the man who'd helped her print case files at midnight. That wasn't the one who shared stories over vending machine snacks. Her gut told her something wasn't right. Meanwhile, Aidan stood by the corner printer, wearing his usual disguise, plain slacks, rolled-up sleeves, and a badge that read legal intern. He watched the charade with a half-smile, curious who would show their true face under the illusion. The answer came quickly. Sienna fawned over Mateo, offering files, fake praise and compliments. "If you need a personal assistant, I'd be more than willing," she said with a wink. Across the room, Elena returned to her work, ignoring the frenzy. That caught Aidan's eye. He walked over quietly and leaned in. "Impressive entrance, right?" She looked up, suspicious. "He doesn't act like you." Aidan raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" "I mean," she hesitated, lowering her voice, "if that's the CEO, then who are you?" Aidan stared at her. The question hung between them like a loaded gun. Before he could answer, the fire alarm rang. An unplanned drill. People scrambled. In the chaos, Elena and Aidan ended up alone by the exit. "I need the truth, Aidan," she said. "Please, what's going on?" He took a deep breath. "Elena, I am Aidan Reyes." She laughed bitterly. "Stop joking. I'm serious," he said, pulling out his wallet and showing her an ID. "The real one." She froze. "No, this isn't possible. You're just an intern." I came here in disguise," he said gently, "to learn the truth about my company, about the people who work here, about you." She took a step back, hurt flashing in her eyes. "You lied to me. I didn't mean to. You married me," she interrupted, voice breaking, "and I didn't even know your name." Silence. Then her voice dropped to a whisper. I trusted you. Aidan reached for her hand, but she pulled away. The fire alarm still wailed in the background, but Aidan couldn't hear it anymore. The only thing he could feel was her slipping away. The fire drill ended, but the heat between Aidan and Elena lingered. She hadn't spoken to him since he revealed the truth. Not in the office, not at home, not through a single text. Elena had always valued honesty more than anything, and Aidan had shattered it. You married me, and I didn't even know your name. Her words haunted him. Meanwhile, back at the firm, the gossip mill was spinning harder than ever, but the drama wasn't done yet. Just when things seemed like they couldn't get worse, Sienna made her boldest move. During a critical internal meeting, she stood up in front of the senior partners and announced, "I have reason to believe Elena Cruz has been leaking confidential case documents to our competitors." The room fell silent. Elena, who hadn't even known the meeting was about her, was summoned immediately. She entered the boardroom with wide eyes and a clenched jaw. "I don't know what this is," she said calmly, "but I assure you, I've done nothing wrong." "Oh really?" Sienna smirked, holding up printed emails. "Because these say otherwise." The documents, doctored and stamped with Elena's digital signature, looked painfully real. Even the managing partner leaned back in his chair, uneasy. "These are serious accusations, Miss Cruz." Aidan, still technically the intern, sat silently in the room. His blood boiled, but he didn't speak yet. After the meeting, he found Elena sitting alone in the file room, hugging her knees to her chest. "I didn't do it, Aidan," she whispered, "but they believe I did, and I don't have the energy to fight anymore." He knelt beside her. "Then let me fight for you." She looked at him, tearful, unsure. "Why would you, after all the lies?" "Because I love you," Aidan said softly. "And because I know who you are, Elena. You're the same girl who stood between a janitor and bullies. The same woman who called out liars without fear. You're not capable of what they're accusing you of." She stared at him, the walls around her cracking. "And what if no one believes me?" "Then I'll make them," he said, a fire behind his voice. "Even if I have to burn this whole building down to do it." That night, Aidan called his assistant Mateo. "Get everything," he ordered. "Every login, every email timestamp. If there's a trace of manipulation, I want it on my desk by morning." Meanwhile, in the shadows, Vivienne Hart, the woman from Aidan's past, watched the chaos unfold from her sleek black car parked across the street. She smirked as she looked at the firm's glowing windows. "You may have married her, Aidan," she whispered, "but you were mine first, and I don't lose." Inside the firm, Sienna was celebrating too early, but she had no idea. She wasn't just going up against Elena anymore. She was going up against the CEO she tried to humiliate. And Aidan Reyes was about to make his move. The boardroom was packed. Tension clung to the air like humidity before a storm. Partners sat upright. Associates lingered in the back, whispering. Sienna Blake stood near the front, her arms folded, confidence radiating from her smug smile. This was it. The meeting where Elena Cruz's fate would be sealed. But she wasn't alone. Aidan Reyes, no longer hiding behind his intern disguise, stood at her side, dressed in a tailored black suit that seemed to silence the room on its own. No badge, no pretense, just presence. "I've reviewed the evidence," said the managing partner, "and frankly, it's concerning." Sienna's lips curved. "We can't let someone like that damage the firm's reputation." Aidan raised a hand. "Then I suppose it's time for you to see the real evidence." He stepped forward and placed a thick file on the table. Mateo followed, carrying a flash drive. "This," Aidan began, "is a full audit of login timestamps, internal access logs, and surveillance footage. He clicked the remote. A screen lit up. File access records appeared, each one showing Sienna's credentials logged into Elena's system after hours. But that's not possible, Sienna began. Except it is. Matteo cut in. Our IT team verified the data twice. Then Aiden played the footage. Sienna entering the office late at night, swiping her badge, and downloading case files from Elena's computer. Whispers broke out. "That's not me," Sienna shouted. "This is fake. You're all being fooled." The managing partner turned to her. "You faked emails, planted evidence, and tried to destroy your colleague's career. And if you think you're getting away with it," Aiden added coldly, "you've underestimated who you're dealing with." Just then, the door swung open. Vivienne Hart stepped inside in heels and diamonds perfectly timed. "Before this wraps up," she said coolly, "I'd like to add something." Everyone turned. Vivienne tossed her own folder onto the table. "I helped Sienna," she said bluntly. "She was desperate to take down Elena, and I owed Aiden a little revenge." "You're confessing to conspiring to defame a lawyer?" one of the partners asked in disbelief. Vivienne shrugged. "Let's call it cleansing my conscience." "You're both finished," the managing partner said firmly. "Sienna Blake, Vivienne Hart, you're terminated effective immediately. Legal action will follow." As security escorted them out, Sienna's face burned with fury. "This isn't over." "Oh, it is," Elena whispered. After the room emptied, Aiden turned to Elena. "You didn't deserve any of this. I'm so sorry." She looked at him, tears in her eyes. But this time, they weren't from pain. "You fought for me," she said softly. "I will always fight for you," he whispered. The partners gathered again, this time to offer Elena a permanent senior position on Aiden's leadership team. "I don't know what to say," she said in shock. "Say yes," Aiden said, taking her hand in front of everyone. "Be my partner, in the firm and in life." Elena smiled. "I already am." A month had passed since the storm. Sienna and Vivienne were long gone, their reputations in ruins. Reyes and Company had restored its image, and whispers about the intern CEO had evolved into admiration. But inside Aiden and Elena's world, something even more extraordinary was blooming. Their apartment, once filled with silence and uncertainty, now overflowed with warmth, laughter, late-night case debates, shared toothbrushes, a bond built on fire, trust and forgiveness. One quiet evening, as the city glittered beyond the balcony, Aiden stood behind Elena, wrapping his arms around her waist. "You know," he said, resting his chin on her shoulder, "you once told me you weren't looking for love." She smiled. "And you once told me you were an intern." They both laughed. "I meant what I said," Aiden murmured. "You inspire me, every day. You're the reason I became who I am." Elena turned to face him, her voice softer now. "Why did you become a lawyer, Aiden? Really?" He hesitated, then shared a memory. "When I was a teenager, I was getting bullied outside school, and this girl, small, fiery, fearless, stepped between me and 3 guys twice her size. Said she'd sue them all for harassment." Elena's eyes widened. "Wait, that was you," Aiden whispered. "You don't remember, do you?" She stared at him. "I do now. I was 14. You were the quiet kid with glasses. I never forgot you," he said. "You stood up for me when I didn't know how to stand up for myself. That day changed my life." Her hands slowly rose to his cheeks. "You remembered all this time. I loved you before I even knew your name." Tears welled in Elena's eyes. "Then why didn't you tell me sooner?" "I wanted to earn you," he said. "Not as a CEO, but as a man." Before she could respond, Aiden dropped to one knee. A velvet box opened in his hand. "Elena Cruz, I know we're already married, but I never got to do this the right way. Will you marry me again? No secrets, no disguises, Just us. Elena choked back a laugh through her tears. Of course I will, idiot. He stood and kissed her, the kind that rewrote the endings of every chapter before. Seek. 3 months later, in a garden lit by fairy lights and filled with soft music, they stood under an arch of white roses. Abuela Rosa wiped her tears in the front row, whispering to the woman beside her, "That's my boy, and that's the girl I chose." Aidan and Elena exchanged vows again, this time as equals, with nothing left hidden. When the minister pronounced them husband and wife once more, the applause echoed with joy, not surprise. Tata. That night, as they danced under the stars, Elena leaned in and whispered, "I have something to tell you." Aidan raised an eyebrow. "Another secret?" "I'm pregnant," she said with a soft smile. Aidan froze, and then his face lit up with the same stunned joy as the moment he first fell for her. In that moment, the CEO, the husband, and the boy who was once bullied, melted into one. And Elena, she was the reason behind it all. The firm had been saved, the masks were gone, and their legacy had only just begun.